Nigga, yes, of here. Tandarari, the key gauge go. Jolo Bida Beacon and Neighbor, Yauchi ye dwe. Good and Paṇḍitā making Shiba Chindiago. Atamamide Yetaji Vel Tinzavidovali Natago. Minjagevare, era Dini Sabida Hoyame.
In yesterday's talk, the Buddha declared to the Deva that he had created this vehicle, this noiseless vehicle called the Eightfold Noble Path, so that one can make use of it to cross the mighty ocean of samsara and arrive at the haven of Nibbana that is safe from all fears and dangers. Today, the sadhu would like to continue elaborating on the same subject.
Rato Agvijano Namasa Rato Agvijano Nama Marato Sara Ye Yata Biovare Yata Diniatanama Ye Yatane do the making Shiba Chindiago Yuavare Diniatanama Bagadi Yatamyagaro Uyu ma see very matelu she atamidate. Ida Ludimia silo she and leve atamidate. A good image tagaro below be Uniatawari CC Edilu atamami Buddha. Damane the Jane never mess of Yatia Channel. The Megi Shiba Chindia Jizunwa Chinabuguri Taune Tane Green Chivio Pijutia Yatwajada. The Megi Shiba Chindia Yentayi Tesida Yetayi ha Masamula Meshiu Palope Mia Mida Lemshiu Era Twijada.
The Pali word is Ratha, which means chariot. That was used as a simile to compare this Eightfold Noble Path normally, when the wheels or axle of a chariot are not properly oiled, a lot of noise can be heard when such a chariot is rode on, has been ridden on. And if there are many passengers on such a chariot too, no matter how well oiled the wheels or axle may be, it will still make a lot of noise, a lot of creaks, and so forth. But this chariot that the Buddha had created is noiseless. It is quite noiseless, no matter how many people, how many beings ride on it to cross the mighty ocean of samsara and reach the farther shore of liberation. This is indeed very true. For when the Buddha was alive, there were many thousands and millions of beings who got enlightened, who got liberated by practicing this Eightfold Noble Path as they listened to a discourse given by the Buddha himself. It was a single discourse, and there were 1,000 or 100,000 or even 1,000,000 beings in the audience that were listening, that was listening. So even these many millions of beings riding on this mighty chariot called the Eightfold Noble Path can cross together at one time, can cross the mighty ocean of samsara and reach the safe haven of the further shore.
Megi Thaya Atamami Melo the Megi Shiba Jindiago Jintung Chipwazi Jin Absent Jintung Lainare Jintung Chipwazi Jin Absent Tesside Poku Miagaro Buddhiatu se Poku Mia Atulu Todabanda Garaga Sashi Ria Pietua Poku Mia Poku Miaro Ti Thai Jisu Kone Nalero Chiju Jade Atano Mie Ni Thai Atamami Velo Tesside Poku Miaro Atami Twella think only Thai the entire sea the Mega Shiba Jendia Jendoya, the Mimido, two Chaja City, Chia, Tinyani level 2 water, Logan Dani level Kanaishi, a Sadi body. Iluchi Juja.
In spite of so many passengers, the chariot of the Eightfold Noble Path will never make any noise. It's quite noiseless. However, the people who ride the carriage, or rather the chariot, to reach the final destination make a lot of noise. Especially those passengers who have arrived at the further shore, at the safe haven of Nibbana. They make a lot of noise, but it's a noise of praise, a noise of exaltation. They exclaim, "Oh, how wonderful this chariot is, how wonderful this vehicle, that I have used it, I have practiced the Eightfold Noble Path, and have attained this state of enlightenment. They sing the praises of this noiseless vehicle without end. And these are none other than the noble ones, the stream entrants, the once returners, the non-returners, and the arahants. They sing their praises in various ways. By riding this fantastic vehicle and having reached the further shore, my mind has changed completely. It is filled with faith and crystal clarity. And also, it has a space to enable wisdom to arise. And there is much wisdom that is able to unfold within my mind. My mind is strong and stable. It is able to face the vicissitudes of life, the ups and downs of life, in a very resilient manner.
Yahana Thiri Thiri Mayidumya Thira Thiri Mayidumya Niroda Dhammabaga Winzaga Tare Kha Ida Phala Dhammaba Winzaya Ma Tare Kha Atu Aphin Prinibbana Sangani Jaye Loga Lutonza Aya Nizaya Poguri Kwelon Me Soye Kwelon Tejani Lucy Tesaya Janituria Tiwanera Kwekwa me Pogua Leve Winner Mave Tabi Melo Prinibbana Sangani says Poguria Women Nebu Techandara Duka Kade Di Kanayido Satya Rome Aine Yawarome Zara Prinibbana Sanganima take Udani Jujara take on the Chanda Ve Saravali and also Abia Dita Wali Una de Duka Veri Malay Nine Emana Bayan Ken Chanda Yabi solution Udan Jujara that they see the Pukuri at Tamide Sore the Bobo Diniatana Ma Chet when we love Jojama and Damalo Chet when Jolusi so nine of them the body love with Bioma.
So the noble ones who are able to enter into absorption, into fruition absorption, for example, will sing the praises of this vehicle that they have used to gain enlightenment. So too, for those once returners and arahants who enter into the absorption of cessation, that there is a total cessation of mind and mental factors and all mind-born phenomena. They too arise from such states, full of joy and praise for this vehicle. Normally, when a person dies, people grieve and cry out in deep sorrow. There is much lamenting. There is much wailing. There's a great sadness to have to leave this world. But for an arahant who has uprooted all imaginable kilesas, his death is something which is very It's something which he looks forward to. It's a big sigh of relief. At last, this great big burden, this mass of suffering is to be discarded. This is my last life. This is my last confrontation with suffering. And there will be no more after that, but just the haven of Nibbana, free from any fears or dangers. There are many instances, of course, of how such arahants sing loudly the praises for this chariot that they have used to cross over this endless and vast ocean of samsara to the further shore, to that haven, safe from all dangers and fears. But the sadhu, of course, is unable to deal at length with this topic. For if he were to do that, he will not be able to continue with other aspects of this talk.
ယဟန္တာမို့လို့သူတို့ရဲ့အဆင့်ကအမြင့်တဲ့အတွက်အခုပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေအနေနဲ့စဉ်းစားလို့မရလို့သူတို့ရဲ့အခြေအနေကိုမသိတာထားပါတော့ယခုတရားကြာကြာနာနာအထုတ်နေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များနိဗ္ဗာန်တရားတွေကင်းဝေးစင်ကြယ်ပြီးခြေကယုံနာပိုက်ခြားသိမှုကအစအတိညာလေးတွေတစ်ဆင့်နဲ့တစ်ဆင့်ဖြစ်လာပြီးတော့ဥရိယပြညာပိုင်းလောက်ရောက်လာရင်ပဲသိကောင်းတာပဲအဲ့ဒီမှာတစ်ခါတည်းမြည်ထွက်လာတာပဲအဲ့ဒီမြည်ပုံအတ္တမြည်ပုံလေးတော့ဘုန်းကြီးကအဲ့ဒါလေးနည်းနည်းဆက်ပြီးတော့အချင်းချုပ်ပြီးတော့ပြောပါမယ်
The consciousness of an arahant may be beyond your maybe beyond your ability to conceive of. It's something very, very high up there. But it may not be very necessary to try to do that, to try to conceive of how an arahant would feel. All you have to do is to look at your own practice. There are some yogis who have been able to overcome the basic hindrances and gain an insight into the true nature of reality. They have been able, for example, to distinguish between mind and matter, to discern the mechanism of cause and effect, and also to behold the arising and passing of phenomena from moment to moment, thus gaining an insight into the characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and selflessness. Some yogis who have attained to the level of insight that perceives the arising and passing of phenomena are rather expressive of their experiences. In fact, this stage of insight into the arising and passing away of phenomena is quite an interesting space to be in. It's very freeing and can be very exhilarating, very satisfying. Sayadaw would like to talk about some of the praises that a yogi in such a stage may sing.
မြတ်စွာဘုရားဟောကြားပါတယ်။စုံညာကာရံပုိဋ္ဌသသန္တจิตတသဘိဈာယိနောအမနုတိရတိဟောတိသမ္မာဓမ္မဥပ္ပါစသောတဲ့။စုံညာကာရံပုိဋ္ဌသဆိုတာလူသူစိတ်တဲ့ကမ္မထာဌာနမျိုးဝင်ရောက်ချင်းကပ်ပြီးတော့သန္တจิตတသဘိက္ခုနောတဲ့လောကီအာယုံကာမဂုဏ်နေနဲ့စိတ်လှူချခြင်းမရှိဘဲနဲ့အခုလိုဝိပဿနာဇံပေါ့လေရှုမှတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်မှာကိုယ်ရဲ့စိုက်ပြီးတော့ပေါ်တိုင်းအာယုံကိုစိတ်အားစိုက်ချိန်သားကြိုက်ပြီးတော့ပေါ့လေဆွဲဆွဲမြဲမြဲရှုမှတ်နေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာဒီကုရဏတရားကြီးကင်းဝေးစင်ကျဲလာမှာပဲဒါသိကြတယ်နောက်ပထမဇာနေပြီးတော့ဒုတိယဇာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အလင်းရောင်ပฏิပတ်တတိအစရှိတဲ့တရားရတာတွေတွေ့လာတဲ့အခါအမနုတိရတိဟောတိယုံနာအဖြစ်ပြက်တွေမြင်လာတာကြာကြာနာမြင်လာတော့အမနုတိရတိဟောတိလူကာမဂုဏ်ချမ်းသာနတ်ကာမဂုဏ်ချမ်းသာလက်လှမ်းမမီတဲ့ချမ်းသာမျိုးအပျော်မျိုးတဲ့တမေကောင်းမပြည့်နေတဲ့ချမ်းသာမျိုးပျော်မျိုးတခါတည်းပေါ်ထွက်လာတာပဲဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့စိတ်ကောင်းတဲ့အသိဉာဏ်တွေမှာတိုးတက်လာတာကိုဝိပဿနာဇာနဲ့အားထုတ်နေတော့တိုးတက်လာလို့အဲ့ဒီလိုဆိုရှိပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီခါမှာသိကောင်းတဲ့တရားပဲဒီတရားတွေအခုမှတွေ့ရတာသိကောင်းတဲ့တရားတွေအသိနောက်ကျတဲ့လေခြင်းဆိုတာပေါ့လေသူများလည်းပဲဟောခြင်းပြောခြင်းတိုက်တွန်းခြင်းတဲ့စိတ်တွေအများကြီးဖြစ်တာသာသနာပြုခြင်းတဲ့စိတ်တွေအများကြီးဖြစ်တာဒါမြည်လာတာပေါ့အမဂ္ဂင်ရှိပါခြင်းတရားလမ်းစဉ်ပေါ်မှာဖြစ်ပွားစေတဲ့အနေအချင်းတက်စီးတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဒါတကယ်အရိယာမဲ့မဟုတ်သေးဘူးပုဗ္ဗဘာကမဲ့လောက်ပဲရှိသေးတယ်ပုဗ္ဗဘာကမဲ့အခိုက်အတန့်မှာဘူးပဲဘယ်လောက်အတန်ဒီမြည်လာလဲဆိုတာကြည့်ပေါ့
You just heard a recitation by the Sayadaw of a Pali verse that was uttered by the Buddha himself. A rough translation of that verse is for one who has retired to a retreat, for one who is striving to attain the jhanas, for one who has attained the jhanas rather, there is a joy that arises in him which far surpasses the happiness that can be experienced through sensual pleasures, either of this human world or of the world of devas. The jhanas here, of course, refer to the Vipassana jhanas as well as the Samatha jhanas. But right now, this is very relevant to yogis who are practicing Vipassana. For if one is able to realize the first Vipassana jhana and go on to the second Vipassana jhana, one has the chance of experiencing that great joy and satisfaction that the Buddha talked about. And a yogi who is in that space, having transcended the hindrances and being able to maintain mindfulness in a rather continuous manner, will be able to experience a lot of joy in the practice. There is a flavor of the Dhamma that you have not ever realized before. It's a flavor that you have never tasted before. And if it's the first time, then you can be filled with a lot of wonder. How wonderful the Dhamma is. It's fantastic. I can't believe that I'm having so much calm and so much joy and rapture that's arising in me. You get thrilled, and your mind starts to think of wanting to share your experience with other people. You are filled with much faith and confidence in what you're doing, and a great sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. You start to think of wanting to spread the Dhamma. You get a bit more ambitious and get caught in a lot of planning and evangelical thoughts. In any case, this is the noise that you are making in your mind. You're making the noise while you're riding the noiseless chariot. You're singing the praise of, you're singing praises of your experiences as you ride on this chariot.
Con ông trên tông này bao gồm ya đó, trên tông mũi ở chỗ à bố thoại là đó, chim môn đàn này, chi chú đàn này bao lì bao nè, phía bố là vì mẹ luôn. Trên tông mũi này mà cha được gì đó, từ nhí ra đấy, tàn địa xây thì này là về đuôi ra đấy, để số đấy lúc về, để bên mang này lúc về số ra bao lì, ấy từ ở tạm yêu để thoại là đấy, tại mà lúc tết xí lúc thoại là đó mà hậu bảo từ đó. Con ông mà trên tông này đuôi bao lì, nhí đàn này phía đó, ấy là yêu lấy về chia vào đấy mà.
There is also another sort of noise which is not so complimentary. This comes from yogis who try to ride the chariot but without much success. They are clinging to it and not actually riding it very skillfully. They're not practicing the path very diligently. Due to their lack of diligence, lack of effort, persevering effort and continuity, they are unable to make much progress in meditation. They hear about other people's success. They see people sitting and presumably enjoying themselves in Samadhi land. But here they are, struggling so hard and still unable to overcome the hindrances, unable to have any taste of the flavor of the Dhamma. And then doubts come in. We start to doubt the teacher, we start to doubt the method, we start to doubt the path, the chariot. Oh, this is a lousy chariot. It won't get me where I want to go. It's creaky and it's making so much noise and it's not a smooth ride at all. So this is the noise that is not so complimentary. It comes from rather undiligent yogis.
Chú lê về yêu ta ta đó át thâu ní ra bà đây. Tại mà lúc cháu á liều rồi nhà ngã nâu lúc Uriya gà lê về mà biết giống lúc xây su si mu tất đi tầm đi á lê mà con lúc tại á tên hí là để gì tên hí là từ nhí để သူတို့ကတော့ခယူသွားပဲသွားနေရပါတယ်တဲ့ခုစခန်းကလည်းပဲပြီးတော့မယ်ဒီတိုင်းဆိုရင်ဖြစ်မှဖြစ်ပါမလားဆိုပြီးတော့စိတ်ဓာတ်တွေကြနေပြီးတော့ဘုန်းကြီးများကအားပေးရပါတယ်စိတ်ဓာတ်မကြပါနဲ့တရားမျက်စိလဲတာလည်းပဲကောက်ပါတယ်လို့ဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့စံခန်းတဲ့ဘုသူတော်ဟာအရာထဲမှာစံခန်းတော့လမ်းကမှားနေတော့ဟိုလမ်းဒီလမ်းလျှောက်ပြီးတော့သွားနေရတော့မျက်စိလဲတော့ဘုသူတော်ဆံအလူခံနေဆိုပြီးတော့ဆံလောင်းတော့ဆံနေများများရဖို့ပဲလို့ဒီလိုအားပေးရပါတယ်ဒီမှာသူတို့မြည်လာတဲ့အတန်ကတော့မယုံကြည်လို့တော့မဟုတ်ဘူးစခန်းကသိငါနီးဆိုတော့သူတို့ကိုသူတို့တရားသိမဟန်ဘူးလို့ထင်ပြီးတော့ညည်းလာတာပေါ့လေ
There is still another sort of noise. It's a desperate wail. And this comes from people who have faith in the practice and who are trying their level best to get into the practice. However, due to some reason or other, they are unable to make as much progress as they want to. And they start to be desperate because right now is very near the ending of this retreat. We haven't got much more time. And they start to express their fears, their lack of confidence, and doubts on whether they will be able to achieve their goals within this course. Of course, Sayadaw understands their position and tries to encourage them in various ways. There is one particular story that the Sayadaw likes to tell as a form of encouragement to such unfortunate yogis. It's based on a Burmese saying. And it goes like that, something like this. The more the anagarika loses his way, the more rise he gets. Now this is something which you might be interested to know. There is a tradition in Burma where people renounce the world and put on white clothes. They become renunciates of sorts. They take up the 8 or 10 precepts. They shave their heads and they put on white clothing. And they live in the monastery, helping to maintain the compound, helping the monks in various ways. And one of the errands is to go out into the village or the town every few days, perhaps, or every now and then, to ask for donations. In Burma, of course, donations come in the form of uncooked rice. And so he would gingally go around with a bamboo pole on his shoulder and 2 baskets hanging from the ends of the pole. Now this anagarika is not quite familiar with the village. He goes to the various alleys and back lanes, and after getting sufficient rice, he's thinking of going back home, going back to the monastery. But unfortunately, he's lost his way. And so he starts to look around and try to find his way out. He bumps into this alley and he gets stuck in that back lane. And people think that he's still going around for donations. So they see him and they start to put in a lot of rice. And by the time he finds his way home, he's got really a big loot. So it's the same for those of you who are trying pretty hard, but still getting lost and sidetracked every now and then. Don't worry, you'll get a big bag of Dhamma.
Kuna tamamire making your tajim ha being led by our man. Being a good in Tare, Dhamma San you thoughts of Dhamma Sara Kaika Uriya Tamune, Chitizika Uriya Tamu, Eddie Uriya Namu go where Dhamma Sutavare.
A chariot is also fixed with 2 wheels. Just as it is necessary for these wheels to be fixed on a chariot so that it can perform its function, so too this chariot of the Eightfold Noble Path must be well equipped with the 2 wheels of effort so that it can be properly used to arrive at one's destination.
Dhamma Cheki Sura Zakazuma Dhamma Suragaro Durogomia Jin Yu Tiago Biavare Agu Tianere Yaulabi Soye Toya Tanio Ariabu Limu Miamatara Niyamau Dhamma Chama Yara Ariabu Limu with Pissing Hinde Kaika Uria Mashivene Tayuna Taimiro Acha Ariabu di Mashi Jinya Shauna Shabiro Cha Tine Ariabu Lemon Pit Sadi body the Kuga Chuyani Na Tayama Tika Nainabe Piro Leve Chidim Shide Ariabogo Pisi Voya Uria Masaifu Solution the area bodiga Shipo Malabu Pianida Edlu Pite Edlu Animum Hopene Pana Jonia cited a near Taga body a near Tashini Gonna be a near Tamu and Ibido Kinlo Bido Kaune a near Tali body Kaika Wuria and near Tali Shida Edri Shiama a Pramazo Kaika Wuria Shiabo Sidika Wuria Soragaro Kumuyari Pudem body she got Pudua she got Pietua Nogani Labido Amierisi so means was human Jonia Sayadaw Penia Lima Alamshia body Borai Malo Mame Sura body Jonia Sai me Sura body Say Jonia Samuli Pare The Jonia Samuli Paro the girl a being to name Kidita Lekhane and Ni Chin a good name Jonia Sabiro Kidita Lamaka Pelan Labi Kaika Wuria Bain the Kuyo, Zidika Wuria, Bain the Kujama, Chuja, Lenida. Yetama, Bain and Lucy, and Kuluresi, Yodora, Baimale Solution, or Yamayam Hamudama. The Yetama, Bain of Winter Tower, as of here.
These 2 wheels fixed to the noble chariot comprise the wheel of physical effort and that of mental effort. As you all must be quite familiar, you need a lot of effort, physical effort, in order to maintain the posture that you are assuming. When you're sitting, you need to have some energy to hold up your body, to keep it erect, so that it does not slump over. When you're standing too, you need energy to keep the body from falling. And even more so, when you're walking, you need the energy to lift your foot, push it forward and to place it, and to lift the other, and so forth, and so on. It is therefore obvious that physical energy is very important. We have to try to keep a balance of the 4 major postures during meditation. It is essential to have proper hours of sitting, of walking, and in a lesser way, standing and sleeping, so that one can balance one's energy as well as create the conditions for good health. In the absence of physical energy needed to bring about these 4 types of postures, one begins to be very lazy. One tends to be very lazy. You become lazy to want to sit up. You want to lean against something. You don't want to walk because it's tiring. You want to do other things, something more relaxing, and so forth. So in the absence of physical effort, you can appreciate that you will not be able to maintain any of the postures. Mental effort is also needed to maintain a continuity of mindfulness. There is already the physical effort expended in keeping the body erect when you're sitting, or in lifting your foot and moving it when you're walking. In addition to that physical effort of moving, of lifting, mental effort is also needed to activate mindfulness that follows right behind, so that the activity that is occurring may be observed. In fact, this mental energy is so essential that you need to prepare yourself to ensure that it is persistent and continuous. It will be very useful to cultivate a mental attitude of being prepared to be mindful every moment. You tell yourself that I'm going to try my level best to be mindful every moment. I'm not going to entertain any gaps in between. I'm just going to try to continuous in my mindfulness and make sure that there are as few gaps as possible. And that sort of mental preparation will be very good, because then your mind will be open to the possibility of actually realizing your objective.
Niyatanaတိုင်းမှာဝိရိယရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာသူကရဲရင်နဲ့အခက်ခဲနဲ့တွေ့လည်းပဲနောက်တော့မသွားဘူး။ဒါကြောင့်ဝိရိယဟာရဲရင်သူရဲ့အဖြစ်လို့ဒီလိုကျမ်းဂန်များမှာပြထားတယ်။တရားထုတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဟာဆရာတွေကတိုက်တွန်းပေးမှပဲစဉ္ညာလျှောက်ချင်ကြတာ။စဉ္ညာလျှောက်ရမှသူတို့ဝင်လေးကြတယ်ပင်မမှသူတို့ကြောက်ကြတယ်ဒါမရဲရဲတဲ့သဘောပါပဲအမှန်ကစဉ္ညာလျှောက်ရေးမှာပင်မမှမကြောက်ရဘူးတတ္တိရှိရတယ်တတ္တိရှိမှစဉ္ညာလျှောက်ခြင်းဖြင့်ပထမဆုံးဝိရိယဖြစ်လာမယ်ကြွားတိုင်းလမ်းတိုင်းခြားတိုင်းမလွတ်တမ်းမှတ်နိုင်ရေးအတွက်အမြဲတမ်းကြောက်ရွံ့ဆိုင်ပေးတဲ့ဝိရိယပေါ့လေနောက်ထပ်ဝိရိယတစ်ခုတိုးလာတယ်ဝိရိယနှစ်ထပ်ပါနေတယ်စဉ္ညာလျှောက်တာဝိရိယသိကောင်းတာသူကရဲရဲမှုတွေတတ္တိတွေတွေးပြီးနေတာအမှန်ကောင်းတာဒါကြောင့်စဉ္ညာလျှောက်မပြင်းဖို့အတွက်ရေးကြည့်ပါလေစဉ္ညာလျှောက်မပြင်းတော့ကာယကဝိရိယရောစေတသိကဝိရိယရောဒီဘိန်းနှစ်ဘိန်းဟာလဲနေတာလဲနေဒီယယထာဟာကိုလိုတဲ့စီကိုဆက်နေတော့တာပဲအဘယဒိစာဆိုတာပေါ့လေဘေးကင်းတဲ့စီတခါတည်းရှေ့ရှုပြီးတော့ဆက်နေတာပဲ
In whatever we do, it is always very important to have effort. You need to be hardworking, to be industrious in what you do. If one's effort is very persistent, persevering, then one can become a hero, a very courageous person. This is precisely what is needed in meditation. You need to develop that sort of courageous effort, that sort of heroic effort is needed in whatever you do during the process of meditation. There are some people here, some yogis, who have a peculiar distaste for walking meditation. Maybe they feel that it's a waste of time. Maybe they feel that they might get tired walking and that would undermine their sitting meditation. In fact, there are many yogis who do the walking meditation only because their meditation teacher encourages them to do so, urges them to do so. One should not have such attitudes. Walking meditation is very important. And the Sayadaw has given one talk on the benefits of walking meditation before. When you're doing walking meditation, you need both types of effort, physical and mental. You need the physical effort to move along, to lift your foot, to push it, and to put it down, and to repeat that process again and again. That will help to arouse energy within you. And on top of that, you are also required to be mindful of what is happening during the walking meditation. You are required to activate mindfulness such that it will follow what is happening right behind it. In order for this to happen, you must have sufficient mental energy, mental effort. So the two wheels of physical and mental efforts are kept rolling when one is doing meditation. This will help to develop your energy level as a whole, will help to boost your energy level as a whole and make it more durable and lasting. If a chariot is equipped with good wheels, then one can ride on that chariot and arrive at one's desired destination very easily and comfortably.
Tachō yogi myāra Kayika Vuriya Baindabaine, Siddhika Vuriya Baindabai, two absent Siddhika Vuriya Bainboli. Kongong Malelu Porai Ayongo, Malota Manayi to it, the sea Jonya Tare, second name like Jonya Tare Vuriya Nere to it. Kilita Lekha says in Kilita the woman. The Yaga Toronani Yamjau, Luresi, Mayon never seen it. Second name la Siddhika Vuriya Shibi, so ye Nyania to Denida, Kilita Lemakan, Pelans Ravoli. The dear Lepola Rodave, the Mari Lepchilla, the Mari Pilla, Yanlepola Rodave, Yamyaki of it. The Yana Chachabia Chasweno. Uriari Masevu Solution, Era Toronego, Kimia Huria, Era di Pieta Para. Era Coco, Piamiro, Mew, Yijiva, Ikaika Uria, Bayo, Siddhika Uria, Bayo, Pompan Le La Shima, Guago, Piamiro, Tondaji.
Some yogis have not been keeping their wheels rolling very well. Especially the wheel of mental effort. It's very important to have continuity in your practice. When effort is there from moment to moment, it sort of puts up a no entry sign to the kilesas. As long as there is effort in the moment, the kilesas are kept at bay. They are put aside, they are not accepted, they are rejected by the mind. Some yogis cannot maintain that continuity of effort and mindfulness throughout their daily activities, including, of course, formal sitting and walking. They are very sporadic in the application of mindfulness. They do it in spurts, and this can be very disorienting. This can undermine your practice. For the momentum that you build up while during the stretch of continuous mindfulness is all in vain. For in the next stretch, you are unmindful and the kilesas have a field day, so to speak. And then when you start to be mindful again, well, you have to start climbing all over again. And it's a vicious cycle. You keep on trying, and you keep on resting, and you keep on trying, and you keep on resting, and you don't make much progress. This is something very important. Maybe it's about time that you start to do some soul searching. Look into yourself. be honest. Are you truly being mindful? Are you truly and sincerely activating that persevering and persistent effort to be mindful from moment to moment throughout your whole waking hours?
အဲ့ဒါလို့ဝိရိယ2မျိုးရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အထူးအဖြင့်စေတသိကဝိရိယတော်တော်လေးအစဉ်စဉ်ထက်သန်အားကောင်းလာတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကိုအာရတ္တဝိရိယလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်အာရတ္တဝိရိယပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာဘာအကျိုးရှိတယ်လို့ဆိုတော့အာရတ္တဝိရိယခေါ်ဘိက္ခွေစုခံဝိဟရတိအာရတ္တဝိရိယရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာချမ်းသာစွာနေရတယ်တဲ့ချမ်းသာစွာနေရတယ်ဆိုတာဘာလို့ဆိုတော့ပုဝိတောပပကိအကုတ္တိဓမ္မေဟိကာမဝုတ္တဗျာပါဒဝုတ္တဝိဟိတဝုတ္တခေါ်တဲ့ဆိုးရတဲ့အကြံစိုးတွေကကင်းလွတ်ပြီးတော့နေတာဒါချမ်းသာစွာနေရတယ်ပြောတာပဲကာမဝုတ္တလည်းမရှိဘူးဗျာပါဒဝုတ္တလည်းမရှိဝိဟိတဝုတ္တလည်းမရှိဘူးအဲ့ဒါဒီကင်းပြီးတော့ချမ်းမြေ့စွာနဲ့နေရတာဟုတ်တယ်လေသူဝိရိယအစဉ်စဉ်တက်လာတော့ပက္ခိတဝိရိယဖြစ်နေပြီရနေတာလည်းမဟုတ်ဘူးအောက်ကျသွားတယ်လည်းမဟုတ်ဘူးနောက်တစ်ဖြည်းဖြည်းမဲ့အခြေစိုက်တဲ့အထိပြိပုံနာဝိရိယဖြစ်လာမှာအဲ့ဒီကကြာလို့ရှိရင်သိချမ်းသာမှာဒါကြောင့်တရထံပြိပူရီတိမိမိရဲ့အကျိုးစီးပွားအစစ်မှန်ဖြစ်တဲ့သီလသမာဓိပညာမဲ့ခင်ရှိပါအကျင့်တရားကိုလည်းပဲဖြည့်ပြီးသားဖြစ်သွားတယ်တဲ့ဝိရိယဘိန်းဘိန်းလဲတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ပေါ်လေမှာအဲ့ဒီအကျိုးတွေမြန်ရမှာသိကြတယ်
If these two wheels are set in motion, especially the wheel of mental effort, it can take you a long way. They can take you a long way. In fact, one who has set this wheel of mental effort going pretty well and constantly is said to be one possessed of ardent energy. The Buddha once praised such a person. He said that one who is possessed of such ardent energy lives in comfort. How does he live in comfort? He lives in comfort because when he is so ardent, so ardently effortful in activating mindfulness, the kilesas are kept at bay. He is free from any thoughts connected with sensual pleasures. He is free from assault by destructive thoughts and free from being molested by cruel thoughts. The ardent energy can be seen in its threefold aspects. There is the first aspect of launching energy, which starts you off on the spiritual path, brings you to this retreat to practice, and having renounced sensual pleasures on a gross level. The second aspect of liberating effort is also needed when you confront pain or laziness and even nice feelings, pleasurable feelings in the course of your practice. And even higher than that is accomplished energy, accomplished effort, which is needed when one has reached higher levels of practice and further effort is required to make deeper progress in meditation. And with this accomplished effort, one can be led to one's desired goal. Therefore, it is said that ardent effort will lead to the accomplishment of the threefold training of Sila, Samadhi and Panya.
ဝိရိယရဲ့အကြောင်းတွေတော့ကြီးကျူးလို့မကုန်နိုင်ပါဘူးလူရင်းလောက်ပြောပြီးတော့ဒီနေ့တရားသိရတော့မယ်မြတ်စွာဘုရားကတူတူနဲ့နားလည်အောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့မိတ်ရှိတယ်ဒီလိုဝိရိယမျိုးမရှိဘဲနဲ့အသက်တရားရှင်းနေရတာတဲ့ဒီလိုဝိရိယထားပြီးတော့တရက်တာလေးမြတ်တရက်ကလေးမြတ်အသက်ရှင်ရတာကတာလွန်ပြီးတော့မြင့်မြတ်ပါတယ်လို့ဒီလိုချုပ်ပြီးတော့ဟောပါတယ်
There will be no end to singing the praises of ardent effort. To sum it up, Sayadaw would like to quote the Buddha. The Buddha said that it is much better for a person to live one single day with that ardent effort rather than to live 100 years without it.
ဒီတော့အခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့ဝိရိယရဲ့အကျိုးတွေကိုဒီနားလည်ပြီးတော့ကာယကဝိရိယစိတ္တိကဝိရိယရှိပြီးတော့ဒီမေတ္တာကြီးအဘိယတိတာရှေ့ရှုပြီးတော့ဗောဒီချီတက်နေကြအောင်ပုံမှန်လိမ့်နေအောင်ကြိုးစားပွားများအထောက်နိုင်ကြပါစေလို့ဆိုရင်းနဲ့ဒီနေ့တရားဝတ်သိနေပါ
Sayadaw would like to conclude tonight's lecture by wishing that all of you may be able to gain some inspiration from listening to this talk and set your wheels rolling so that your chariot may be able to arrive at the safe haven of Nibbana.